Hi everyone, just before we get into another episode of What a Load of Bulls, we just want to give a shout out to our partners, Newcastle Car and Truck Rental. Newcastle Car and Truck Rental are a locally owned company servicing Newcastle and the Hunter. Todd Holden and family pride themselves on being part of the local community, and you feel that when you step through their doors. It isn't a different person every time you call, it's the same people taking care of business and taking care of you. So next time you're in need of a rental, be it a truck to move, a ute for those everyday DIY jobs, or a car to get the family around on a day out, be sure to contact the team at Newcastle Car and Truck Rental by visiting www.newcastlerental.com or by calling 02 49 081 081. And don't forget to tell them DJ and Simon sent you. Clickety click, 66, bingo! It's the What a Load of Bulls podcast. We're back for episode 66, folks. Great to have you here. Hopefully you all enjoyed part 1 of Robert Weale last week. We're going to get straight into part 2 this week, but before we do, Simon Little, big shout out to you, mate. Good, some good work down there with the Bulls Academy at Carringba Bowling Club. How's that going?
Yeah, it's going good. Had a few sessions with the guys and girls down there. They've got a couple of grades and they're just looking to bring a bit more player development into their club. So yeah, had a few sessions on the green, talking a few preparation, doing some purposeful drills and focusing on certain shots and missing in right areas, all those kind of things that you'd look at on the lead up to pennants, playing as a team and things that you can do as an individual during the week to kind of get your team set up for a good game on a Saturday. So yeah, a couple of sessions with those and yeah, it went really well. And yeah, shout out to them and hopefully pennant starts pretty soon. I'm in New South Wales, so hopefully they go good and I'll probably call down a few Saturdays and give them a bit of support and maybe some coaching from the sidelines. And yeah, hopefully they go pretty good and that'll be a good feather in the cap for the Bulls Academy.
Absolutely, folks, and that is why we started the podcast. It is about the Bulls Academy and promoting that as well. So, folks, if you are new to us and you haven't tuned in before, look up thebullsacademy.com. Check up their socials as well. Facebook, have a look at what Simon's doing down there at Carringba. He's got plenty of gear for your club as well on the website. Have a look at that. And if it's something you're interested in, get a hold of your club. Email Simon at thebullsacademy.com. Big fella's more than willing to come down and help you out there. Because like they said, those that can't do teach, and Simon teaches pretty darn well, so he does. But that's enough for that one for now, folks. We do have a long second part with Robert today. So, straight into part 2 of Robert Weale, the GOAT from Wales. That was us focusing on your career, Robert. So just looking forward now, mate. It is a Commonwealth Games year. So I just want to get your opinions and your thoughts on, number one, how lucky are we as a sport to actually be included after that whole debacle with Victoria? It's going to be in regional Victoria, blah, blah, blah. And then they pulled out of the contract. And then number 2, I want to get your insight on the format because it's going to be the first time we've ever had an indoor bowls at the Commonwealth Games. So what's your thoughts on the games for this year?
Well, yeah, once I heard the news Victoria were pulling out due to funding issues and everything like that, I thought, do you know what? I thought that's probably it. I thought bowls, we're going to struggle now. That's probably, I thought that was, end of Commonwealth Games as well, mate. So I thought that was it for the event. But it's great that Glasgow stepped in to host. That's probably because of the facilities that they had in place for the Glasgow Games 2014. But then, so firstly, Commonwealth Games continue. That's the big win. But then I was very surprised that bowls was actually making the cut for the selected sports. Yeah, I think very surprised and lucky on that. But maybe because it was Scotland and Scotland's presence in bowls and the importance of bowls in Scotland, their success in the games, I think that helped as well. So happy days. That's the job. We're still there surviving. And then moving on to format. So again, a big surprise maybe that bowls, Commonwealth Games, always an outdoor sport. Maybe sometimes there's been artificial surfaces outdoors, but that's the tradition, isn't it? And bowls in Scotland traditionally outdoors and facilities, or many facilities there available. So moving indoors is a big change and with the numbers. So that's the restriction, isn't it? Just that drop in numbers down to a maximum of 3 players in a team and just playing singles and pairs. So that does then restrict opportunity, doesn't it? Players at that elite level and maybe just below developing that aim to get into this pinnacle event that is just down to 2-3 players, that elite. So there is a restriction there. Indoor surface, fine. I think we mentioned earlier in the podcast about player preferences. So mine, as I said, it didn't really matter to me. But this is where it may come down to players being specialists, sort of, or more recognised as more specialist indoor players, that it does come to, they would be more at the fore. I think that probably affects, obviously, UK more, doesn't it? Rather than Australia, you're sort of outdoors most of your time anyway. It also does bring a complication.
That's it. That's what we've said a few times.
Yeah, definitely. So complication indoor may be that you have indoor associations and outdoor associations. So Commonwealth Games has always been under the remit of the outdoor association and your outdoor committees and selection process. So what happens now? Who picks a team? It's an indoor event. Who's the governing body? So this is where you got a little bit mixed communications in Wales, because we do have an overarching body, Bowls Wales, who are responsible for administrating the game of bowls in Wales. But then below that, you've got Welsh indoor, you've got Welsh lawn bowls. So where does it go? Who governs that? I believe currently it is with the more recognised Welsh lawn bowls sort of set up that are selecting the teams to play. And then when we get to actually selection and who goes, because you could have some countries just picking 2 players now, which is interesting. So you could just pick a singles, and that singles player plays in pairs. So it's a further restriction. And which countries are going to do that? Could be a benefit, couldn't it, for your singles player to actually have that double bite and time on the greens and play that? So it would be interesting. I know England have just selected their team. They'll pick 3 players, haven't they? Ladies, men's, and their para teams. But there may be some countries out there now just going to plump on those 2 players. It's all interesting, all change. One thing I think on that as well, it is a reduced event. We know that. Time is going to be a factor, isn't it? I'm not sure how many portable rinks. So you've got to get games in, amount of play. So it's going to be interesting about formats. Is it, groups, knockout, whatever? We talked about the story of numbers of teams in the event make a difference, but certainly with reduced facility of indoor rinks, that's going to affect that as well. So I'm not totally up to speed on exactly what, the format, how many greens and whatever it is. I'm not sure if that has been confirmed yet. It all makes a difference.
Yeah, it does. I think what we've seen at the World Cup, like nothing's not locked in and nothing's definitely publicised, but I think what we've seen at the World Cup in Malaysia there with the 2 greens, 2 rinks, so 4 rinks all up, I think that's what they're aiming for. But as you said, in terms of group setup and stuff, I'm not over any of that too. But obviously, as you said, it's a bit of a shortened format too. It's more of the BPL format. We refer back to being that. It's a BPL format. We're familiar with it here in Australia. Shortened sets of 7-end sets for the singles, 5-end sets for the pairs, respotted jacks, and of course the placement of the jacks. What's your thought on that?
So obviously reduced format of 7 ends, 2 sets, and 1 end tie break. That's cutthroat, isn't it? That really shortens the game. Short, snappy. Yes, that's good. Normally, I look at other sports in this. Normally, when you go to this is a premier event, major championship, and world championships, they normally lengthen their games, don't they? Dart, snooker. It's an elongated format. You get into be the world champion, the Commonwealth champion. We're doing the opposite. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong to do this. We need to move the game on. We do need to make it short and snappy. And yes, the BPL works, doesn't it, in every way. One thing excuse me. One thing I don't like is the placement of the jack. You might call me, traditionalist if you like, but that placement of the jack, I think that removes a big skill from the game. I think you're playing singles or you're leading that pairs. That is a huge skill element which we're going to lose, because that is a big factor. If you do not throw that jack to the correct position, where you want to play, or you might lose the jack, whatever, that has a big impact on the game. So I am loath to see that dropping out of the game. I did witness it in, as you say, the World Cup in Malaysia, and wasn't a fan. I think most bowlers who know the importance of that jack throw would be of the same opinion.
The interesting thing too was, as you know, I was down in Barham there for the World Series finals too. At Barham, they played the same format in terms of set length, but they did deliver the jacks. I think you're right in that, and there's a pretty good example of that recently, because I'm pretty sure, I need to go back and check that, but I think Foster put the jack in the ditch in the last end of the tiebreak in the World Singles there at Potters, and he went on to go down to Paxton. I think that it was either the last end of the second set or it was on the last end of the tiebreak. I'm pretty sure, like Paul Foster, who's an absolute gun at delivering the jack. We know that. They talked about it the whole way through the pairs. Like you could put a 5p piece on that carpet and he was going to deliver the jack to it. But just at that particular moment, yes, he's delivered it wrong. And then obviously Robert Paxton then's got to pick his length with last ball. He's come out world champion. So you're definitely right. It adds a different element to the game. But again, same thing. I think in the purest form, I think in an ideal world, we're going back there to Kelvin Grove like we did in 2014. We're playing on the outdoor greens there, and, you know, it's a leveler because the greens in the UK are slower. It definitely adds another element being indoors because, as you said, the Australians out here, there's not many indoor facilities. There's plenty of the canopies coming up and carpets, a lot more carpets than there used to be. So it won't be too much of a difference. But it definitely, I think, it nearly it favours, but definitely brings the UK right into the contention, I think, to nearly be favourites for those type of events. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how that all plays out. Yeah, so mate, you've played both formats, you know, like sets play and then 21 up in singles, ends play in the pairs, triples and fours and things like that there. What's the benefits of each and what will your preference be?
So, yeah, over the years, generally, so we talk singles first. Traditional game has been 21 up or 25 up. With dead ends, so no respots. In effect, that's probably the purest form of the game, really, in a singles, that duration. And the way the games can change, you know, you can recover from a poor start, you have time to rebuild, you can maybe try different things during the game, be more attacking at certain points in the game, and then defensive when you need to be. So purist-wise singles, yeah, that to me is where we are. But okay, that's being very traditional. So understand the requirement for games to be speeded up. You know, we get broadcasting time commitments. So let's go to sets. You can be more guaranteed of how long a set takes. But in a way, if you're playing a 7-end set, or even this is more cutthroat, just maybe being 7 up shots in a set, I think that can make the game a little bit more reserved and more defensive. You're more liable to approach it that you can't lose a count, you can't lose a 3, you can't lose a 4. So you're not going to play, in my opinion, as many attacking shots in that. So that can sort of change, you know, players' approach to how they're going to play in that sort of format. And then you've had, when we started playing sets, there wasn't respots either. So now you've got the respots, and then that again, in a way, you can, if you're on the front foot and you've got a front toucher, you can actually close an end down. Sometimes your opponent has nowhere to go. Does that make the game better when, because of a respot or no dead end, that you know, the spot's covered, the ditch is covered, front toucher, that opponent may have nowhere to go. So not sure that always makes the game better. So in other formats, pairs, triples, fours, yeah, listen, games are generally shortened from your 21 ends or 18 ends. I'm in favour of that in a way because, yeah, you need to get through the game. Number of balls have reduced, 2-ball pairs, 3-ball pairs now more generally, 2-ball triples. So, and you go into 15 ends with a time limit, 2 3/4 hours. I think that's all good. Makes the game fine, keeps it moving. You don't want players up and down the head all the time, do you? Restrict that player movement. I know traditionally Southern Hemisphere, Australia, New Zealand, thirds all the time stay down, don't they? UK, we're up at the head, and that slows it down. And listen, I'm not a big one for all these debates in the middle of the green. It's a lot of times to me, you look at an end and look at a shot. The shot's there to be played. These 2-3 minute chats, I don't think it's required at all. So keep the game moving. I'm all in favour of that. I guess I didn't mention my preference, like really on, whether it's 21 up or sets. Listen, again, I'm quite relaxed about that personally, about what format is being played. I think as long as preparation for any event, you look at what the format is and the rules and what governs it. So you play the game to that format and it is what it is. So if you're playing a 15-end 2-ball triples, for example, you know what the game is. There's no excuses. Like you need to be on the ball, on your mettle from the start of the game. Have that preparation because that's what it's all about. Be prepared. No sort of hidden sort of surprises, is there? And you only got yourself to play.
Yeah, there's not really anymore. I mean, there's so many different formats now. Everyone's got experience, especially at that elite level of playing sets play, of playing 21 up, 25 up, whatever it is, playing ends and pairs, triples, fours. So there shouldn't really be any surprises. And as you said, like, it's all about that preparation. I think every country pretty much has adopted all that elite preparation, and there's no stone left unturned anymore. I mean, they've all got their technical managers and things like that there, high performance coaches and things like that. So yeah, it's just whatever's good for the game, I suppose, is good, and everyone's going to have their preferences. Like I can be a bit of a traditionalist too, like 21 up, no better than that. It blew my mind when I first came out here to Australia. You had to play 31 up. I was like, nah, I didn't like playing a 21. I'm not playing a 31. But
that's a longer game, isn't it? On a quicker green as well. So, yeah,
unbelievable. But it made probably enough on Commonwealth Games and stuff at the minute. But we're pressing very hard for the Olympics. There's a massive push out here for Brisbane 2032. World Bowls are right behind it. Bowls Australia right behind it. As someone who's been around for a long time, played at that elite level, played so many of the big events, what are your thoughts here? And do you think we're a real chance, or is there still plenty of work to do?
No, listen, I think there is a chance, and it's good to see, obviously, Bowls community get behind this. Obviously, Will Bowls making a big push. Brisbane being in the focus, and we've had Brisbane events, and we get ready for Brisbane, Bowls in the Olympics. And the whole Bowls community need to get behind it as well. Support, lobby, put pressure on where they can. And it would be fantastic, wouldn't it, for Bowls to be an Olympic sport and be recognised? Yeah. Because when I come away and having played Commonwealth and World Championships and you medal, general consensus and probably non-bowlers, so your work colleagues and friends and whatever, not sort of playing the game. It's always like, oh, you've got an Olympic medal. That's brilliant. Like, you've played in the Olympics, and you sort of got to say, no, it's not an Olympic sport. We play World Championships. We play Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
Oh, but it is, they can't get over it. It's like Olympics. So in sport, isn't it? That's the pinnacle community sporting event, isn't it? So it'd be great if we could be there. Can we? I'm not sure. Can we actually get there? That's a pessimist in me, looking at the newer sports coming on board, isn't it? Like skateboarding, BMX, sport climbing. I think there's even your breakdancing, DJ. Should I mention that? With
yeah, we'll definitely put that out, especially the way the Aussies performed in Paris. We'll definitely put that in.
Exactly. So on that, can we get in? Not so sure, but listen, the right drive, and I think the right people in place at the moment making the right noises and that lobbying. So. Yeah, happy days. Continue with that, and hopefully we can get there.
I'm with you, man. And I think if we've got a chance, it's probably now. It's the best chance for it to be, because it's so popular of a sport out here. They're so successful out here. Obviously, with it being a home Olympics, they want to have sports that they're going to be able to win in. But the inclusivity of it all and adaptability of it all that we're showing now, especially with the indoor, the outdoor, changing formats for Glasgow, I don't think there's any better chance than now. So fingers crossed. Let's hope that we make it, mate. And that's Brisbane 2032 is what we're pushing for.
Absolutely. If it's not Brisbane 2032, it's like when will it get in then? Because the conditions are right, isn't it? As you mentioned, massive game in Australian participation. So
It's the best.
Fingers crossed.
The best place in the world to be playing it with the facilities that they've got at all the clubs, the grass greens, the weather. Obviously, I mean, yeah, it'd be to me. It's now or never, really.
Yeah. So cross fingers and let's get there.
We touched on Potters there and stuff, mate, but let's have a good look at Potters now, because obviously you've done well there too. It's just finished off as we speak. I know growing up from watching it, you're always sort of front and centre there, and then one of the big names that we watched on TV. So you took the title out in 2000 with a win over compatriot and good friend John Price. So it was a different format back then as well, but how was that win?
Yeah, so Will Bowles Tour, probably a regular name on the circuit, sort of. Because I wasn't playing indoors, I guess qualification for me on the tour was only just after mid-90s to late 90s. So, reaching the final down in Potters in 2000, it was great for me. And to be in the final against my good friend John Price, and we had many battles on the indoor carpets in Wales. And listen, I've got to say, he was the king indoor player in Wales. I think he won Welsh titles about 9 times. He had already been world champion. Fortunately, I won my first Welsh indoor title. I'd beaten John in the final, stopped him on a run of winning about 4 or 5 on the trot at that time. So that was a big win. Big win for me and feathered my cap. So listen, final in 2000 against John was probably, because I knew John, it's probably a little bit more relaxed because we had played so many battles. We were good friends on and off the green. We had a chat beforehand as well. We shook hands. We split the purse. We were playing for the trophy. And, good friends, I think, do that. But listen, when you're on that green, it's cutthroat then. You are playing for that title. And for me, it was about making a decent start. I think if you've played any game that level and obviously a televised final, you want that first ball to end up somewhere close, because there are some nerves, and you'd be a liar, I think, if you said there wasn't any nerves. So you want that first ball to go close, and fortunately it did. Format-wise, it was best of 5 sets, and the sets were 7 up. So set could be over 2 ends, couldn't it?
Yeah.
But, generally, they did last longer than that. I know my very first game in a World Championships up in Preston was against Graham Robertson. 5-setter there, believe it or not, that game took 4 hours and 40 minutes. So that, again, we can see the reasons why format shortened, because that's not TV friendly, is it?
No, it's not. Was that 7 up or 9 up back then too? Did they play 9 up at one point?
Yeah, I think they played 9 up in what was called the UK Open.
Yeah, okay.
The other event. World was always 7 up. So, and that was a 5-set 7 up, game, which went to 3-2. So, but no, the final against John, as I say, managed to make a decent start, won the first set, got back. I think John made it 1-1, then managed to get over the line, sort of something like 7-5 and then 7-3 in the last. Listen, I think the jack had spread out on that last end, and I had a ball to play within 2 feet, 2.5 feet to win the title. And picking up that ball in my head was, well, this is what you dream of, isn't it? Having a ball to win the world indoor title. You got 2.5 feet. Don't mess it up. You got to do it. So, fantastic. Yeah.
Awesome. You've seen the world indoor change over the years. That we talked different formats changing. At one point, the venues changed because it went to Potters sort of early 2000s, and we see the portable rinks. What are your honest thoughts on where it is now? Is it living up to its potential, or could we see more from it?
This is a tricky one, isn't it? How honest? Catch 22. I don't really want to sit on the fence. So, honest thoughts. I do think it is struggling at the moment, really. Is it was what it was? Has it become a little bit stale? Listen, over the years, we've made concessions, and we, for the BBC and coverage, we've got the colour of the green, the coloured bowls, clothing, etc., shorten the format, make it those 2 sets. But even then, on broadcasting and coverage, we were still being cut by the BBC and move into, like a Jack and Ori missing end of game. So concessions wise, it hasn't always worked on that contract. Listen, familiarity with sports, I know audiences want to watch the same players, and that even comes down to the same commentators, if you like, to get, they know this is World Bowls, that's what they expect. But has that become a good thing? Because, yes, we've still got a fairly consistent top 16 in WBT, so is it shaking up enough quickly? Now, listen, I was part of that for a number of times, and I was happy to be there, and maybe my position was protected, but is it really a world event as such? I know we have your qualifiers around the world, but I get lost sometimes because I'll put it that we don't see the big Aussie names over, really, at the moment. Now, I struggle that we used to have Steve and Glass and Kelvin, and they were a big presence on the ball. Kelvin in particular was a big part of the tour, wasn't he, and making a big impact. Viewers love to see him before Kelvin's well, Ian Shoeback. Great to see them, but we're not seeing that at the moment. So I struggle with, are they members of WBT? Do your top players enter the qualifying events? And that's taking nothing away from the qualifiers that come over, but is there that desire to come over and compete in the UK on that indoor surface, or is the BPL doing it enough for your players over in Australia?
Well, I can nearly answer a bit of that for me from being out here, but the calendar out here for these elite players is just insane. Like we've had Aaron Sheriff on a few times on the podcast talking to us, and he even alluded to like burnout tours. And like, I mean, you look at Aaron. Aaron's only a couple of years older than me. He's 41, 42. Yes. And he's retired. You've got Alex Marshall, who's still going into his 50s. Like, if Aaron had that same setup that Taddy's had, would he still be going? Or vice versa, if Taddy was having to put through the rigors that these guys are having to put through here in Australia, would he have burnt out earlier, and would he have given it away type of thing? That's the balancing act. But they produce such good talent. But you're 100% right, and I've always wondered that as well. But to my knowledge, Robert, the only WBT membership is in Western Australia. So, like, we had a chat with Ali Forsyth Forsyth earlier in the year on the podcast, or sorry, late last year on the podcast. Ali's goal is to make Commonwealth Games. He knows it's on the World Indoors. He hadn't played at Potters, and he said he set himself the challenge of trying to qualify for Potters. But to do that, Ali had to fly from Victoria to Western Australia, join that membership, and play in the qualifiers over there. So it's just not. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it could be because it is so far away as well. Like it's a long way to get to Potters, but it just doesn't seem to be that desire out here. And you might have touched it as well. Like, you've got that BPL, you've got so many other events. Like, it's just a 12-month of the year sport out here. It just never stops.
Yeah, and I agree with that, isn't it? It is the Bowls calendar. There's so many prominent events that players would want to play in. Southern Hemisphere. So that is restrictive. Logistics are restrictive, aren't they? Listen, cost. It's a long way, as you say, Potters, so cost comes into it as well. So it's not easy. So it is a world event in name, obviously dominated by UK players. And then regarding the ranking points over here, there's not enough tournaments, is there, to, for ranking points? Because when I started playing, obviously the desire was then that we would have, for example, 12 WBT events in a year. Yeah. And you would start, you could then, it's Professional Bowls Association, but no real professionals. So desire would have been that you could have had these, for example, 12 events with prize money. And then you could think about that you could be a professional player and get an earning out of the game. Now, there's only very few bowls players I think the UK would actually get an earning out of the game. Most of us are full-time job, isn't it, and everything like that. So that's the difficulties about where we are. And I know we have supporting events as well. We, ladies, invitation, mixed pairs. So world in name, isn't it? But it's not really world in stature as such, because, those are the restrictions on the event. So, yeah, it's just in a little bit of... just an impasse, I think, at the moment, DJ.
Yeah, I think we sort of touched on it a lot. Like Simon had a big go about it on the podcast last week, or the last episode, and then 12 months ago he did the same thing again. It's a real bugbear of his as well, and he sort of said that it's almost just like it just ticks over. It's just like it's surviving. It just ticks over. Nothing's changing. As you said, it's the same people all the time. It's nearly harder to get out of the World Top 16 now than it is to get into it. I know when I started watching back in the early 2000s, there was at least 5 events a year. You know, we don't get that anymore. You hit the nail on the head too. It's called the PBA, but where's the professionals in it? Like all of them, like yourself. We talked about your career there off air. You've had to do that job for 30, 40 years, and now you and balance your career on the side to win all those medals. So it's a hard task up in the UK for it. How do you make it professional? Even out here, like the players are blessed that they can be backed by their clubs as such. But if the clubs didn't have the setups that they had out here, it's still hard to be a professional in that game. So just with potters, mate, like what, or with the World Indoor, we're not call it potters, it's easy to call it potters. With the World Indoor, what changes would you like to see, if any?
Again, it's a hard one, isn't it? You just said, don't say potters, but that is the association, isn't it?
Yeah.
Potters and the World Championship. It was 99, I think, the first World Championships there. I think Tati won. And they are a massive sponsor and supporter of the game. And obviously you've got those contracts tied up, whether, BBC, World Bowls Tour. And they make a big effort on that, successful marketing for that event. They sell their holidays for that. It's a quiet period, isn't it? January, but they've got that niche in the market of that attraction of selling that World Bowls event, getting people down to the resort, and it works for them. So what we've got there is, we're talking about change, but this contract's made, isn't there? And there's a lot of money from that sponsor, and they've supported the game. I can't fault them at that, whatever. But I think we do have that consensus of what if, what if we did move around like the darts and had it in different venues, not a resort as such, but get a footfall, if you like, spectators and audiences just coming to watch that particular day play. You may generate more interest. Take the dart as an example, isn't it? You've got the constant noise, music, movement, whatever. And I think players wouldn't mind playing in that, because if it's constant and it's ongoing, that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's only as a bowls player when you get the silence and then a sudden noise or a sudden movement. Yeah, exactly. January is prime time, isn't it, for that?
Yeah.
So those are the issues that we're thinking about. Yeah, let's freshen it. Let's have a change. So what do you do, to get from that? Listen, there are some positives on both, and there's negatives, isn't there? But yeah.
Well, as you said, they're a big supporter. So maybe the problem isn't that the World Championship is at Potters every year. Maybe it's the problem that is just the only event everyone talks about. There's not enough other events around.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, because you were on the inside of it all. But when that portable rink first came in, my understanding of when they were promoting that portable rink was the idea was it was portable and that we could take it around and we could hold bowls in different places that we never had it before, i.e. leisure centres. Simon's talked on here about having on the centre court of Wimbledon. Just the ability to have that portable rink was what it was meant to be for, and to showcase the sport. And it's just not happening that way. Like the Scottish Open is still played at a bowling club in Scotland, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. The Scottish International Open now, just in the recent years, has just been played on the stadium green.
Yeah.
And the actual green just split. When we used to play the Welsh International Open, it was actually on the stadium carpet there and just on one rink. So it wasn't the portable rink when we played in Wales either. So yeah, we talk about portable rink, but it wasn't that portable, was it really? Because it was built at Potters, and early days it was used for Scottish International Open, because we used to play Dewar Centres in Perth. So those are the only two real venues that portable rink was, as I say, portable and moved.
Yeah.
So yes, I think the ethos of the WBT at the time was that desire, if you like, that we thought get more tournaments and move around, have, as I said, 12 events a year, but you hold it in different centres. and play then. But I think the difficulty with, I think sponsorship has been the massive blocker. And as John Price was well involved with WPT and professional bowls, and he talks about the difficulties in selling the game and getting sponsors on board to expand the game in that way. But we've also had Barry Hearn of Matchroom Sports. He's tried, hasn't he, regarding bowls. He ran 4 Matchroom events, a couple in Potters and a couple out in Cyprus. And I was lucky enough to be part of, I think it was the last one in Cyprus when played there. But when Barry Hearn moves away and says he can't make it work, that highlights the difficulty of getting sponsorship behind bowls and moving around and even raising that profile further, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, he's got his own documentary on Netflix at the minute too, so he obviously knows what he's doing, Barry Hearn. There's no arguments there. Want to keep your members happy? Give them shade. Want to attract new ones? Give them year-round play. Want them to brag about your club to their mates? Give them a MacMax Bowling Green canopy. Make your members happy? Make it a MacMax. All right, mate. Well, we've covered the Commonwealth Games in depth there. We've covered World Bowls Tour in depth there, and that World Singles back in 2000 down at Potter. So let's go back to the World Outdoor Championships, though, because you've had plenty of representation there too, mate. 5 medals with a gold in 2000 in the 4s. So talk us through your World Championship experiences.
Yeah, so World Outdoor Championships, actually, same number of representation really as Commonwealth Games. Managed to do 8 World Outdoor Championships. Just missing out on one in 2008. I could have made it 9, but that was a clash in 2008 when it was over in New Zealand with the World Indoors down at Potters.
Okay. Yep.
So the tour. There's a few obviously players affected at the time from the UK, but I was one of the ones who made the decision, rightly or wrongly, to stay and chase Potters, if you like, glory there rather than that. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. The way Potters went, maybe I should have been over in New Zealand, but hey ho, that's one of those things, isn't it? We spoke about 84, didn't we? First sort of World Outdoors up in Aberdeen. So that obviously an eye opener and whatever. But 1988, that was over in New Zealand, Henderson, I believe it was Auckland. Got selected in singles and pairs. So I guess after the strong showing in 86 in the Commonwealth Games, obviously gold medal, it was always likely that I would get the pick. Raised a few eyebrows, getting the singles berth for Wales at the time. A little bit of controversy in particularly the South Wales newspapers. Didn't think that I should have been the singles player. They were probably looking at John Price, Steve Rees, guys who were going well over in the UK, particularly indoors and the quicker pace of greens. But I had sort of won a couple of junior titles. I'd won the British Isles Junior in 25. What happened in, I think it was 87, I lost in Llanelli when I was playing the Junior British Isles Championships to Brian Middlemass from Scotland. And the proverbial hit the fan then. It was, if this guy can't win the British Isles Junior singles, why is he got our representation? But anyway, it went well, to be honest. Didn't medal in singles, but was 5th. So I'm playing guys in my group, 12 in the group. You got Willie Wood, Kenny Williams, Australia. You got Bellis and Bryant in the other group. So, big names. And I've got to be pleased with, as I say, performance. There was a playoff for 5th and 6th place for the 3rd positions in the group. Managed to get 5th, so that's a good return. Pairs, played with my good friend and a chap who was partner with me on many occasions in major championships, William Thomas. He was part of the gold medal winning 4. We actually went really well in the pairs, 2nd in the group to none other than Brassy and Bellis. So again, that was, a good performance. And we actually won the bronze medal playoff. So there's no give me bronzes like at that time. So we beat the Canadians, Big Bill Betker and Ronnie Jones. And that was the quickest green I think I've ever played on in that playoff.
Yeah, right.
It was absolutely flying. It was weird. It's a little bit damp, the green, and we thought, it's going to be a bit slower, but not on those Coachella greens. It actually, speeds up. So, yeah, but happy days with that. 92, that was down in Worthing. So again, sort of 24 odd teams, two groups. I played with William Thomas in the pairs again. Everything was going honky-dory in the group. And then we lost to the American pair, Frank Souza, Myrtle Isaacman, I think it is. Put us on the back foot for obviously a game or two, and we actually just finished out on the qualifying position. So a little bit disappointing. And the same in the fours, really. A strong front end in the fours. You had myself leading, Steve Rees second, John Price third, and Spencer Wilshire. So we just lost to Scotland in the group, which just put us out of qualification there. So didn't quite get over the line, but again, strong showings. Then we move round to Adelaide 96. Little bit of shake-up. I'm not in the singles representation then. I'm sort of pairs and fours again then. So I'm skipping pairs with William Thomas, and then we're in the fours and medalled in both disciplines. So that was great. Bronze in the pairs. We lost to Sammy Allen and Big Jeremy Henry, who went on to win gold. That was
that's right.
Medal. Yeah. And again, it was a game, that semi-final, where me and Will were flying. We were up in the game, and I think Jeremy and Sammy had a chat, and it was like, they're just going to go for everything. The game's not going for them, and which they did. They absolutely turned the game round on its head, so missed out on that. But we lost to England in the fours final. So, yeah,
The old enemy.
The old enemy, John Bell, skipping that rink. So again, but if you go to a championships and get two medals, you both the disciplines you're in, you've got to be pleased with that. And we got up to Ayr in 2004. Again, I'm competing in the pairs and fours again. So I'm playing in the pairs with Jason Greenslade at that time. And we managed to get a bronze. So again, just missing out on that final. Fours didn't go as well, but it's still, just missing out on the qualification on that one. Fast track through to 2012, and that's back in Australia, isn't it? So I'm back Adelaide, I think, again.
It was Adelaide back then, because they like to refer back to that one here in Australia, because it was an unbelievable showing. I'm pretty sure every member of the team came away with a gold medal from that.
Yeah, Australia were really strong, weren't they? Fantastic sort of performance there. So actually, I think this was the championship where I did come back, really disappointed. I was going well in the singles, and in my group, I think I suffered 3 21-20 losses.
Oh, stop it.
And I know, and it's, and even the last game that if I win, I'm playing Jerry Baker, South Africa. Mm-hmm. And if I win that game, it's sort of qualification is guaranteed, because Jerry's got work to do.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. I was 2014 up in the game. Oh. And I think time is also running down on the clock as well. So 2014, and on a longer length end, I managed to contrive to lose a 4. I bowl stick out on a particular hand, bowls change hand, run underneath the head. So Jerry picked up a loose 4, really. And next end, so 2018, so I'm running a couple of shots. Jerry's got balls past the head and whatever. I try and cover, but I didn't quite get the cover I needed. So Jerry's played an open white, got the 3. So that was bang, gone.
2 ends later, gone.
They're gone. 2 ends gone. So, yeah, that was disappointing. And pairs as well, myself and Jason, again, we were flying in that, and then didn't turn up for the quarterfinal, basically, against England. So that was good night. And the last games, New Zealand, which might touch on again, but that one, again, didn't really go well for me personally. Maybe, just not playing my best ball at that particular time. But listen, you got some young guns starting in the team then. Ross Owen, I believe it's Ross's first game, and obviously Ross has made a big mark on the game of bowls, not just in Wales now, but worldwide. So that was my final World Championships.
Yeah, 2016. And then, obviously Commonwealth Games in 2018, but that's when retirement came. So what can you tell us around that decision and how it came about? Was it missing out on those games that sort of made the mind up for you, or had you been sort of dwelling on it for a while?
No, it was obviously, you set targets in the game, don't you, regarding as you go on, because you need something to aim at and play for. And it was certainly one of my targets, alongside, getting 100 caps of Wales, in the home international series. But it was a target to get 9 Commonwealth Games of mine, and to do it consecutively, not missing out from, way back in 86. Listen, I think it was a close call. Obviously 2016, the performance didn't sort of help me on that selection with the Welsh TM at the time and the selectors. But when I was notified that I'd just missed out on selection, but I was the 6th man or the extra man, the reserve, whether it was knee-jerk or not, but I had a little think to myself and thought, look, if I'm not sort of good enough to make that sort of team in that major championship at this point in time, I'm going to do what I thought was the honourable thing and sort of pull back and decline and say, well, not good enough that. So I'll not make myself available for obviously future major championships. And that's why I decided. Listen, I said I would still be available for British Isles series. Thought I still had a lot to offer in what would have been a 24-man team, 6 rings.
Yeah, I was going to say 24-man team there.
Exactly, but unfortunately didn't get the pick for that.
So you were 6th man for the Commonwealth Games, but then not in the top 24 because you'd retired. Basically,
I think people took it that it was a retirement from everything, from representation in Welsh bowls, but the letter I penned was very clear in that it was just major championships, and that I did have a desire to continue and if you like, rack up the Welsh caps, if you like. But that wasn't to be. That was out of my hands. That was me on the sidelines for, competitive Welsh bowls, if you like.
Yeah, well, that's a bit disappointing, I suppose. But it'd be a hard one to swallow when you've been there for so long, and it's 6th man. You think they might have sort of said, we're going in a different direction now, Rob. We're gonna take the young kids or whatever, because it was a bit of a. Would you say it was a bit of a change in the guard in that one? I mean, like Jonathan Thomason, Ross Owen, Steve Harris, Mark Wyatt, Daniel Salmon, all were the 5 I think that were picked in the end, weren't they? Daniel and Mark obviously coming away with the gold in the pairs, and then Daniel backed that up again in 2022. But he had a different skipper then from memory. I can't get that off the top of my head at the minute. But a bit of a change in the guard for Welsh bowls then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. As I say, Ross Owen had come into the team, in the World Championships. So Ross, he was always going to be there. He's, a dominant force, or had already become a dominant force in Welsh outdoor bowls. And Ross is going to be there for a while. As I say, he's made his mark on the international scene now. But it was a change in flavour, if you like. Yeah, possibly a younger, fresher team. As you say, you got Dan leading there for Mark Wyatt. But Mark Wyatt had been around in different championships, so but they clicked, didn't they, in that pairs and beat Tatty and Fozzie, in that final over there. So, and that was great. But for Daniel then to back that up in 2022, and it was Jared Breen that skipped over in Birmingham. Yeah, to get back-to-back double gold. Not many do that, but particularly in Wales anyway. And as I said to him at the time, he joined the club with the double gold medalist, mate.
Unbelievable. Yeah, fantastic. So talking about those records, it was 8 consecutive World Championships and 8 consecutive Commonwealth Games. Do you know where you sit on that list of Commonwealth Games? Are you aware of the record, or?
Well, I don't believe any player has competed in 9 consecutive Commonwealth Games, so that was why it was.
The only bowler close to you there was Willie Wood with 7, and I think Willie had to miss one because he was classified as a professional and the Scottish wouldn't pick him. Does that ring a bell to you? Is it?
It does.
Early 90s?
Yeah, that was in the days where any sort of bowls earnings or income was looked at that you were a professional in that sport, and obviously Commonwealth, it's got the amateur status, isn't it?
Yeah, it
So
does.
maybe a bit tenuous, if you like, looking at it now, and athletes, and you having athletes are getting major sponsorship deals, aren't they? So,
yeah.
But yeah, as I say, I don't think anybody, well, not a bowler has done 9, and not even
Mate,
8, probably.
You're second on the list. You're second on the all-time list of all sports, so you are. And the good thing about it is you were beat by a Northern Irishman. So you were. David Calvert did 11 in a row. And the only reason he didn't get 12 was because in Birmingham 22, they took his event out of the Commonwealth Games and wasn't there. Otherwise, he probably would have made that. But he started in just before you in 78. And he went all the way through the Gold Coast in 2018. And the only reason he didn't do 2022 was because his event was removed, like I said. He is a Northern Irishman. Can you guess what that event was?
Well, I'm going to say it must be something like shooting.
Yeah, you got it in one.
Not a bad guess, eh? Yeah.
Oh, well, mate, you just have to look at the history of the country. It makes sense, doesn't it?
You said plenty of practice.
Yeah. So I was David Calvert. He did, 11 in a row and just missed out on 12. And you were 8 in a row. Willie Wood was 7 all up and missed that one because of obviously that little bit of controversy about earning money and stuff. But yeah, man, that's a phenomenal record for the history of the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah,
you're second on that list.
That's not bad. I actually didn't realise that I would have been second on the list. I knew I was sort of up there and had a chance. But to be second, that's something not to be sniffed at, I guess.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. So, congratulations. So, obviously, retirement came. What roles have you stayed involved much? What roles have you held with Welsh Bowls or any other organisation since you have retired?
Yeah, so soon after, retirement hit and I'm not playing majors or home internationals, I had a look at it and it was always something that I felt I would go into, team manager Wales, look after the guys, take them to events and whatever. So the Welsh TM role sort of goes on a 4-year cycle. So the incumbent was David Harding. So coming up to the 4th year, it always goes out to the WBA Council at the time, if you like, that anybody who wishes to make a representation or application to become the Welsh team manager, put your CV in, basically. And like the final year of the current TM's role, you sort of, if you're successful, you partner with them. So,
yep.
So listen, that's what I did. I threw my CV in. I guess it's not a bad CV to throw in and make your interest in that role.
That's how you undersell yourself, mate. Well played.
No, so he took me on. So that was great. And listen, the easy part of being a TM is taking your teams and lads and to a championship and actually managing them during the games, preparation, practically, style of play, getting them motivated. That's all the good things, which I've really enjoyed on that. The other part, listen, the administration side, it coincided with COVID years as well.
Yeah, it would have been tough.
It was tough, and people probably think, COVID years, we didn't have the senior international series during that period, and people think, well, you weren't doing anything, but there's so much going on with, you were the face of Welsh Bowls and talking to officers in Welsh government about plans, preparation, risk assessments, how you're going to get back to play. And when you did get back to play, everything had to be in place. So it was a busy time,
Yeah.
During that time of TM, sort of maybe short and sweet, my sort of duration as TM, but I took the junior team.
Did you only get one away trip for like a major? Was that Commonwealth Games in 2022 your only major? You didn't get the Worlds in?
Yeah. So that was the only major championship. And that was, if you like, just down the road for me. I live in Hereford. So,
yeah, right now.
So when it's the Birmingham Games and the bowls were at Leamington Spa. So literally it's, within hour and a half down the road. But listen, I guess you could be anywhere, couldn't you, when you go away and you're managing that team. So no, I'm proud of the lads to, managed them to, as say, Jared and Dan winning that gold, and then the boys in the triples getting the bronze. Fours-wise, they lost in a game against Ireland to get through to the semis. I really thought our fours would medal as well. Listen,
didn't Johnny Tomlinson play an absolute ripper against Ali from New Zealand? Didn't he play a bomb to win it?
He
didn't he? One of the best bowls of all time. It wasn't even on TV. I think it was they cut to it or something. It was live stream, but I think I recall seeing that. Johnny, what was Johnny Tomlinson? Wasn't it?
It's Johnny Tomlinson skip in that rink, and that game against Ali, New Zealand boys, to qualify there. Well, Wales it was a comfy game. It was sort of armchair most of the way. Yeah. So I'm sitting content on the bank. And then they're playing this end at 14-8 up, Wales. And there's only 2 ends to play. And I'm like, yeah, job done. But then this end starts, and I can see I'm after 3 bowls, even 4 balls, I think this end is not developing right. And I wanted our boys to sort of just change it and whatever. But as I say, the end developed, and we're left with 1 ball that Ali took out for 8 shots. So from 14-8 up, we're 16-14 down, end to go. And it's like, oh my God, this can't be happening. But next end, at least our boys had sort of played about 4 or 5 feet through the end. A lot of their balls were a couple down, so we're game against. Johnny produces this absolute worldly to trail the jack for it's probably 5 or 6 shots, but and all hell broke loose. Johnny is screaming around the green, I'm jumping on and whatever, but what a ball that was.
Yeah, it was. I can remember that. We actually spoke to Ali about that on the podcast as well. In terms of the elite level, we did. We brought it up. Don't worry. I'm not backwards and going forwards with that stuff. But mate, in terms of at the elite level now, so obviously you've been involved with Welsh bowls for 5 decades, all right? So where do you think Wales are sitting in the elite level, and how have you seen it develop over time? I mean, you as a player and as a TM.
So I've always felt, in a way, that Wales, as I say, I go back to 86 or 84, but I felt that we generally punched above our weight as a bowling nation. We are a small nation, and club wise, we haven't got hundreds and hundreds of clubs. So you take us, compare against England, Scotland, far bigger organisations like so. So medal wise in World and Commonwealth, definitely punched above our weight, and we're always a presence to be recognised with. One thing I always took into the game is that just gaining respect of your opponents, going on the green and making sure that you're going to be competitive and a hard person to beat, and that opponents will remember that. And when they come back, it's like, oh, we've got a game here, you know what I mean? And that's so we try to instill across that. So definitely we've been that force, and then you come to 80s, early 90s, and then we're getting some more funding coming in. Sport Wales through an elite community program, so athletes getting some funding, which certainly helped myself, William Thomas, Jason Greenslade, to actually get to events. And it's not we talked about work, responsibilities and getting away from work and career to try and play ball. So all that helped, and I think the funding more laterally is sort of helped us sort of improve as a nation. I think we're a little bit of an impasse at the moment, just due to the structure of the game in Wales, where communication has got more confused now, I believe. We got Bowls Wales as the overarching body that administers the game in Wales, so they receive the funding, then allocate it through the different games of bowls. We're talking indoor bowls, we're talking outdoor, we're talking short mat, we're talking crown green. So that funding's got to be allocated. So I think we're just on the back foot as we stand at the moment, that we're not quite there or where we should be. And I think that is holding us back, unfortunately, at the time now.
Yeah.
That needs to improve. I take Ireland as a benchmark. And I think Ireland improved so much and overtaken us, I think, by some distance at the moment in that respect, because they've got the funding coming in and they've got a structure And they seem to be doing it right, and they seem to be able to use that funding and go and participate in test matches, preparation events, get out there and do the right thing, which we're not. We're lagging behind that at the moment, which it doesn't sit well with me, because when I was team manager, I wanted to, get test matches, compete against the best, go and play at the venue, if you like, travel, get abroad, experience these greens, because not every player is going to be having that experience.
Yeah.
But we're lacking on that support and funding side on that. So that we need more clarity in Wales on that to drive us forward. Because these guys like Ross Owen, Daniel Salmon, Danny Davis Jr. coming up, we did well at the World event in Malaysia, as you saw.
Yep, won the World Cup. Yeah, and then he got invited down to the World Bowl Series final too for that. Yep.
Yeah, we need to get these guys out there. You only improve when you play against the best, and that's the only way you can test. So, yeah, I think that's where we are just at the minute. So it's a bit of some ups and downs, I think, over the year. And we're just on a little down spike at the moment, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. It's a very fair assessment, mate, and I think you're well placed to give that assessment. So good on you for being honest with that there. But yeah, I'd say you're 100% right. From the outside looking in and being a Northern Irishman, growing up and watching all these things, like the Welsh always seem to have, I don't know tell me if you think I'm wrong, but almost like a siege mentality. Like you're attached onto the big side there that's England. You are that little nation, and you always had that sort of, not maybe like a chip on your shoulder to go out and prove that we can compete with the big boys. And I always did get that feeling, and I hated playing the juniors. I hated playing against the Welsh in the juniors. Honestly, pains in the neck. But anyway, I think it's a pretty fair assessment.
And you're probably right about that siege mentality, and it's particularly against our big neighbour, isn't it? England, border them, particularly the boys from South Wales. It's always. I used to get a little bit annoyed and frustrated at, certain times, because as long as we beat the English, like we must beat the English, And I was sitting by, I'm a mid-Walian, and I live right on the border, but actually living in England now. And it's like, do you know what? That's fine. Yes. As long as you beat the English, but as long as you beat Ireland, as long as you beat Scotland as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, just get out there and compete. It doesn't matter who it is.
100%. 100%. Right, mate. So let's talk. Obviously, we've done retirement. We've done career after bowls. Let's talk Hall of Fame stuff now. So first one that came up was the Welsh Sports Hall of Fame back in 2022. I think that was. So how was the feeling getting that news?
Yeah, I think it was 2022. So that news was relayed to me by our club president of Prestine, Brian Shirt. So I had a phone call from Brian, and it was sort of, what you're doing sort of Friday evening next month, on this particular date. And I was like, well, I don't know, nothing planned, I don't think, Brian. He said, well, got some fantastic news. You've been inducted onto the Roll of Honour, Welsh Sports Hall of Fame, and took me back. That did, just to be, well, as I say, Welsh Sports Hall of Fame. Got, obviously we're rugby orientated in Wales, aren't we? So, all the great names of the past, like Barry John, Gareth Edwards, JPR Williams, and your name's going to be alongside those guys, all the famous footballers. I did have a look. I'm not sure if Gareth Bale's been inducted yet, but no, it's just fantastic. And I think I'm right in saying I'm the only third bowler after Janet Ackland and Mal Evans, our Welsh World Championship winners. So that's some pride there. And it's pride, obviously, for me, family, and the club and everything so. Just superb, mate.
Yeah, unbelievable. So did the family get to attend that event with you?
Yeah, we did. It was at a table at the event. So got my dad, eldest brother, my partners down, daughters. So we had a great night, and there was just so many lovely people and kind words, on the presentation. Lynn Davis, or Lynn the Leap, that famous triple jumper for Wales, I think he held the record for ages, and such a gentleman that introduced me, chat about my career in front of the, at the dinner, and then Dad getting pictures with Lynn and Gareth Edwards, and you could see the smile and pride in my dad, his chest puffed out. having photos with those guys. So superb evening, DJ.
Yeah, unbelievable. And then obviously the inaugural World Bowls Hall of Fame just at the back half of last year. You were one of the first 31 inductees, and you're the only Welsh representative in there, man or woman, at the moment. So how was it getting that news? And did you have to keep that under wraps for a while? Did you get much notice to get yourself ready to get to Kuala Lumpur?
Yeah, there was actually, a fair bit of notice on that one, DJ. It was during August last year that I rocked up to play one of my games at the Welsh Outdoor Finals, and as soon as I walked through the door, the current competition secretary, Nick Harris, sort of pounced on me. Sort of, I've got some news for you. So I was like, what's it? I thought it was going to be, you can't play today or something like that. But it's all good. It's all good. But you can't say anything. I've got this letter from Will Bowles, and it's announcing or saying that you're going to be inducted into the World Bowls Hall of Fame, first one. And he said, but you can't say anything. It's all secret. So typical me, I was just shrugging the shoulders, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And I didn't really think about it at the time, about what that actually meant and the importance of that in the game of bowls, to be recognised as on that elite table, if you like, Hall of Fame, and the inaugural one as well. So it didn't sort of hit home at the time, but it certainly did after. And lots of preparation to make sure I got over to Kuala Lumpur. The family were straight behind it and said, look,
yeah, nice.
You've got to go and attend that dinner, because, you'll regret it if you don't go.
Well, it must have been actually quite good for it to be in Malaysia too, mate. I mean, that's where you walked out holding the flag in 1998. So, I mean, how was it being back in Kuala Lumpur and now for this reason to be inducted into the World Bowls Hall of Fame?
Yeah, well, that made it, didn't it, that it was Kuala Lumpur. So 98 carrying that flag. Dad was over watching, as I say, in the stadium. So it was definite I was going to go. Unfortunately, you have to look at it correctly, and Dad's 88 now. Yeah. And I would love to have taken Dad over just to revisit that. But listen, with, yourself, with the humidity and everything, it's he's not as nimble on his feet either at the minute. So no, that was just great. And I was thinking, well, who can I take? And with having three brothers, it's like, well, what do I do? Do I ask one of the brothers or what? But I had a little think, and it came down to a chap you'll know, Philip Weale. I met Philip in 98 when I was sort of trying to find my dad's hotel, walking down the street, and this Irish boy shouted, Robert Weale, like, what are you doing? Are you looking for your dad's hotel? And I was like, yeah. So, sorry, I don't know you. And he said, Philip Weale, my wife's playing, whatever. And we had a good chat on the street for 10 minutes, and friends ever since, mate. Good friends with the family, and looked after my dad and daughter at different times as Phil. So I thought, Phil, come along. We're going to have a recce back to Kuala Lumpur and enjoy ourselves.
Absolutely, and you did. And other than having to bring Phil Weare with you and then shared a taxi with myself on the first day, how was your time in Kuala Lumpur, mate, overall? Because it was that inaugural World Cup as well in that format. The Welsh boys taking out the gold in the pairs. So how was your time there? And then obviously that Hall of Fame dinner as well. How was that for you?
Yeah, so it was a great combination, wasn't it, to have the World event, the World Cup, and obviously get back to Kuala Lumpur. Listen, bowlers, when they go away for major championships, you could be all over the world and you don't really see anything. You see the practice greens and bowls, and that's about it a lot of the time. So certainly, Kuala Lumpur in 98, it was probably only a couple of days down into the city just to have a chat with Dad at the hotel. So it was the opportunity to do the tourist things. Get out around the city, get and see Petronas Towers, go up the towers, and then Chinatown, and then do the Batu Caves.
Yeah, that's right. You said that.
One recommendation on that for anybody is, if you have a good night the night before, don't be climbing them steps up the Batu Caves. But in that humidity, I was nearly gone at the top. A little bit shaky.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the photo. I remember Phil showing me the photograph.
Sweat pouring out and rocking and rolling. I think I thought I was going to collapse. It was probably a Delhi moment for me. I thought I was going to keel over, but no, the time over there was great to catch up. with all my peers being inducted and have a chat with them. Rex Johnson, Peter Bellis, name two. Then you got
That was
the Aussie
amazing
guys.
that Peter got over, wasn't it? That was amazing to have Peter Bellis there.
Brilliant. And just short chats about when you first played against each other and how that went. It's like, yeah, we had you in that game, but you had us in that. And it's similar with Rex, like, when Rex beat us in Canada for the gold there, and it was Rex, like, you remember that flick you had from that end, and whatever. No, it's just great to exchange stories and see all the Aussie contingent catch up with Jeremy Henry again and Casey and everybody. So it's sort of pinch yourself time, isn't it, the dinner, that you've got those bowlers, great bowlers that are, ones I've looked up to and sort of just thought if I could be like them and play like them and whatever. But for your name to be Weale, like one of the last to go up and whatever. But
yeah.
It is pinch yourself and such, as I say, again, pride for not only me, but the family, because when you start at 11, this is not, you don't play the game to thinking this will happen.
World Hall of Fame, yeah.
Exactly, and it's happened and you're part of that. So it's just so much of an honour, isn't it, just to be there and experience all that. And listen, it was a great dinner, great night, so happy days.
Still get a bit of goosebumps when your name got called up. I mean, you knew it was coming, but all of a sudden it became real as soon as the name got called.
It did, but then the protocol of before you approach the stage, you've got to bow to the king and then just stay back, remember to bow again. I'm sure on the second occasion when we went back for the interview and you sort of supposed to, Phil said to me, he said, when you walk past the king that time, you just winked and nodded your head.
So where have you got the your little memento, your brooch or whatever it was that they give you? Where have you got that? Has that got pride of place in the house with all the medals, or where do you keep all that stuff?
That's a good one. So I've got a little cabinet downstairs where there's a few trophies on that. So the World Bowls presentation is in that cabinet, and that's alongside the World Indoor 2000 trophy and my 6 Commonwealth medals. Those are the only ones I got out. The rest, unfortunately, are in the loft, boxed up and whatever. But what I need to do is sort those out and get a proper display for the World Championship medals and Atlantic medals and whatever, because they shouldn't be in the box up there. I've been sorting some stuff out with my time off now.
Yeah.
It's probably would be, but it's frightening the amount of kit and trophies and whatever that is up there. Sorting through all this kit and whatever and box it up so I know where it is. But yeah, but those are the only ones on show downstairs.
Very good, mate. Very good. Righto, we're getting towards the end. So just another couple of questions just to finish up with. What next in terms of bowls for Robert Weale? Have you got any aspirations out there to, I don't know, maybe go for TM again, stand as a board of director on something, do something like that? Or, what are you doing with yourself now, in terms of the game of bowls?
So following Kuala Lumpur, I did go over to Cyprus, part of that sort of team, if you like, for the senior fours competition, and that was in its the second staging of that event following 2023, and that event grown. It was good to see Australia there playing away. So hopefully the profile of that event increases and grows over the years. I think it's going to be biannual. So yeah, my role over there is celeb bowler, if you like, just to be at the venue and be visible and chat to people, chat to the teams, but do a bit of commentary as well on the YouTube. So always available on that if anybody's listening like that. So on that score, R4 actually won the senior fours in Wales last year. So that actually puts me into like a qualification position for that senior fours in 2027. So we'll see how that goes, whether the boys want to play or not. Listen, I'm not playing indoor balls at the moment, so currently, nothing indoor. I haven't played for sort of 9 years. But moving forward for me, bowls playing wise, good year last year. Because you've got the senior events, I could actually enter 4 open championships and 4 senior at the moment. I entered 7 last year and got into 6 county finals or regional finals. Managed to win 4 of those in the county, and as I say, we went on to win the senior pairs, but three strong showings, in the other events, got the semis in those, and two of those were in the open, so pairs and four. So I want to next year see if we can or back that up and get another Welsh title and even maybe an open Welsh title, see what happens. Regarding team management side, if the conditions are right, yes, I would be interested going back to that sort of performance management side. As I say, the easy thing is taking the boys to a championship, coaching there, lads and lasses so coaching, get them playing in the right style. Particularly enjoyed the time with the juniors, getting those guys on board and playing the way I wanted them to. So, as I say, the key thing there is if conditions are right regarding structure and how things are placed in Wales at the time.
Yeah, awesome. Giving back to the game, that's fantastic. I know from my history as well, having a player like your stature, being the team manager of an under-25 team, it fairly spurs you on. I was lucky to be part enough of the only Irish team to have won it at junior level back in 2010. It was Jimmy Baker. Obviously, we looked up to Jimmy like an absolute idol, and Jimmy was he just had you believing. So he did that time. So I was, for people of your stature to be able to give back to the game, that's what we need. So it's great to see you still have that drive and desire to do that, and to still obviously play at the top level. And here's a world title that suits me. I'll go and get this one as well.
Well, you've got to try. I think my older brother, he's just keen as mustard on everything. And I've won many, many Welsh titles with David.
Yeah.
And he's just so keen you would not believe.
That's unreal.
So I'll just leave all the entries to Dave. I sit back and he does all the entries, and I sort of find out, who we're with and what we're playing and whatever. So I'll let him continue with that and we'll give it a good go again next year.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. Right. A couple of questions just before we head into the quickfire stuff. It's been an unbelievable career, mate. But if I give you the chance to go back and change one thing in your international career, what do you think that would be?
What would I change? I think in that singles Glasgow Commonwealth Games 2014, I think coming off the back of a bronze, silver, gold, that progression, and actually finally achieving that gold medal in the singles. I don't think I should have played the singles in Glasgow, but listen, not my choice. I did sort of sound that out, in Wales amongst team manager and whatever at the time.
Yeah, okay.
But it did change to two events then, rather than the sole event. And it was, you'll be our singles pick and you'll be in the pairs as well. I just felt maybe at that particular time, a different challenge would have been great. So that was one thing. Besides about what could I have done, maybe knowing what I know now regarding opportunities in Australia, maybe could have, gone over, play some more balls in Australia. But listen, where would that have taken me? Maybe not have the career I would have done in Wales, but on the other hand, would have made me a better player. Like, UK-based players that have gone over, made the transition and been a big success. Jeremy Henry's stands out, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Good friend, David Axon, also has made a good mark, hasn't he now? David played third in the international team with me for a long time. He was our sixth man in Delhi as well, so he was a good sort of, good support on the sidelines there as well. Yeah, so maybe that would have been something could have tried, knowing what I know now.
Yeah. Was it ever flirted with? Were you approached for Premier League? The early 2000s. That's how we got in touch with it, really, by watching Jeremy and Ian coming out here and play. Were you approached by any of the big Sydney clubs to come and play New South Wales Premier League back then, or never were?
No, not early 2000s. Didn't have the approach at that point in time. Probably would have. Oh, yeah, obviously you consider anything that's offered, but probably would have taken that. I was going pretty well early 2000s.
Yeah. Well, I just talked about going back there and changing anything, but here's one for you then. I hadn't pre-prepared you for this one. If you could go back again and just experience one of those feelings, whether it be the obvious standing on the top of the Commonwealth Games for a gold medal, or a particular bowl in a particular game that you played that really give you that buzz, what moment would you like to relive again if you had that chance?
Two stand out, don't they? Just winning that World Indoor title in 2000. And it was in my head saying, you've got, 2 feet to draw. this is what you would have wanted to win a world championship. Go and do it. And doing it, and then walking down the green and picking my daughter up on the sidelines, celebrating with Rhiannon there. That was, can't beat that sort of feeling. The other one would be, it's got to be Delhi, where, okay, family aren't there in Delhi, but it was that build-up, wasn't it, of that progression and to finally beat an Aussie in a Commonwealth Games final.
Yeah, you had a few, didn't you?
Yeah, and it was just a release, I think, but I did it the right. It's not a knock at Kelvin like this, but I did it the right way. I sort of, celebrated on that green, and it was just fantastic, mate. It was, would like to be in that moment again.
Yeah, awesome. Righto, so this is the point we go to the quickfire stuff. So just, it doesn't need to be quickfire, Rob. I'll just ask you the questions that a lot of the players like to hear. Just go into as much detail as you want. Just answer as you want. So obviously the obvious one, make, model, size of bowls.
Yeah, maybe not a quick answer on this one.
Had a few.
Generally been a Drake's man through my career, and thankfully sponsored by Drake's Pride, who've been very, very good to me. Yeah. Listen, it would have been right at the start. I've mentioned catwalk bowls, and it was just size 3. I have played from size 6 all the way down to now on a size 3. But I have dabbled in different championships, and when green conditions dictate that you need to play with a certain bowl. So, and this is where Drake's always good with me, because I've ended up playing Henselite in a world championship overseas. I've ended up playing Taylor bowls, and in
there you go.
96, I played with a Taylor bowl in that one when we medalled there. Actually, Melbourne against Kelvin, I took a Drake set over there, didn't suit the green. Got some more Drakes off a supplier or agent over there, didn't suit. I actually went down the Henselite shop, Darabin, and I went, do the set of bowls like I'm playing in, whatever. They should have recognised me. I had to buy them. They wouldn't loan me the bowls, so I had to buy them.
Brilliant.
So I played with Henselite there. So no, it has varied, but mainly Dregs. But I am down to a size 3, and I think I will. I've actually bought some second-hand Tiger bowls to sort of have a go with outdoor next year. I like the. I tried the Mega Grip, which is that deep grip, and I quite like the feel of that, so I'm going to try that.
Okay.
See what happens,
nice.
mate.
Nice. Best greens you've ever played on?
There's been so many, so sort of a general answer. Look, when you're playing in New Zealand and Australia on those quick greens, it can't be. But I would put Without the Wind on that.
Yeah, yes. 100%.
You get that wind blowing. It's hard, isn't it? Even your jacks are being blown off the rink when it's strong. So, but yeah, Aussie New Zealand greens. In Wales, outdoors, I go a few years back now. Landry or Wales, which is my region, where if Wales hold their championships and internationals, that used to be very quick and swingy. I think it's sort of tightened up a bit now, but those greens were very good.
Yeah, me and Simon didn't like it one year, 2009. He played lead, I played second on rink 1 on, I think it's the top green. It's the one next to the clubhouse. The clubhouse is just looking right over the top of it.
Big swinger and a straighty.
Yeah, it was lashing down rain. Back when you could give the jack away as well, 2009, and 42-6 we got beat. So Simon got moved off the rink after that one to another rink, and then that was the end of us playing together that one.
It sticks in the memory, those scores, doesn't it? But that rink, if it's not going well there, it's first in, and it's a tough rink to get out of trouble then. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, favourite player to play with?
I've got to say William Thomas. Over the years, we've partnered so many times, pairs, fours, won numerous medals together, and the guy's a legend to me. He's just so solid, genuine. You know what you're getting. Does what it says on the tin, William. So got to be Will.
Nice. Any particular players out there you hate to play against?
The thing about this is probably Aussies in finals, Commonwealth finals. I've just been on the wrong side a few times. So,
dear.
but there's one period in time, sort of outdoor and indoor, back in the UK, always coming up against Darren Burnett for some reason. We're always getting drawn. And listen, it's not that he had one over me or vice versa. We had many close battles, but he beat me in a short period, sort of outdoors in the British Isles singles and then indoors as well. So, but we always had great battles, me and Darren.
Yeah, righto. Favorite club that you've been at, either visiting or being a part of, whatever suits you. Any club that sticks out in the memory that was just sort of last there you love being at?
Yeah, well, listen, I've been loyal to Preston, my hometown, and whatever. So I've got to say, I enjoy the club there. The members are great. They've supported me, throughout my career. So I love being there and helping the club out and with what I can do. I loved going over to Canada, Victoria there. That was great. That was so clean. I felt like it's, big open spaces and that was lovely. And enjoyed myself when played the Champion of Champions in New Zealand at Christchurch. And obviously Christchurch had suffered with the earthquakes and damage done there. But myself and Ange, we, after the tournament, travelled around in a camper for 11, 12 days. And
awesome.
Listen, the country, wow. I'm sure we're going to go back there. It was just fantastic sort of journey.
No, Simon was here. He loves New Zealand as well. His partner's actually from there originally, Vanessa, so she is. So they've done all that too. Apparently, it's the thing to do is the camper van around there. So, of all those places you've been with Wales, mate, what's your favourite country then?
It's the favourite country. Yeah, I'm going to say New Zealand just because of that trip. There's so many special memories for us. And just that travelling that we managed to do. Yeah, as I say, because you go to an event and play bowls and that's it, you don't get to see a lot. This is one of the opportunities I had that actually had downtime and spent sort of that, 12, 13 days after. So, yeah, I could say New Zealand, South Island there.
Nice. Best friend off the green?
Yeah, big mates, obviously through bowls and playing in Wales, and he was my number 2 to Birmingham, Ian Slade. So we don't catch up, that regular, but yeah, he's a great mate and a great foil for me as Ian Slade. Gareth Wills, a lad who was best man for. Shout out to Gareth. He's just had a prostate sort of diagnosis, so he's going through some treatment at the moment. So the best wishes to Gareth and all the Skittles lads I play Skittles with on Friday nights. They're a great bunch of boys.
Good that. Well, that's the next one then. Any hobbies off the green?
Well, there we go. That's for the first one then, is Skittles. So I don't know if you're familiar with Skittles, but it's a pub club game. Team name is Tatty Bogos. We're a pretty decent team in Hereford. We're around the top or winning the cups and whatever. So Skittles night tonight later on. So gonna enjoy that and have a few beers with the boys. Love the horse racing. I've got a share in a horse at the moment. Bit of a bigger interest, not as much as Mark Casey might like. So,
he's got a big one.
Yeah, he's syndicating and whatever. But I've got a share in a horse. Love me football and all sports really.
Yeah, nice. What's your favourite sort of sporting team? And we say code here in Australia, obviously. But what's your favourite sport to watch and favourite team?
Not sure if they could be classed as a sporting team at the moment, but Wolverhampton Wanderers is my team back home. I'm
going through a bit of a bad spot at the minute. Yeah,
we're rocky at the moment, and since I've knocked the indoor bowls on the head, I've got my season ticket over at Molineux, so been going up there watching. But it's a desperate season at the moment, so that's not a good one. But no, love me sport. Love. Whether it's rugby, Wales are going through a very rocky patch as well in rugby. So, and Champion Six Nations starts next weekend, and Wales have got England first game. So, I'm not looking forward to next weekend, to be honest.
They had a very big fall off a cliff, didn't they? Really, if you look at where they were and where they are now, like it just seems to be a mess behind the scenes too, from the outside looking in.
Yeah, if you've got another 2 hours, I think we could go through all the issues and problems in Welsh rugby, because
we'll start a rugby podcast and we'll get you on first.
Absolutely. It's going to be a long, long way back, unfortunately, now for Wales. I think we're wilderness for a few years or a lot of time to come.
Yeah, for sure. Did you play any other sports when you were younger, and what level did you play at too?
Yeah, listen, I played, again, had a double at trying everything. I was good at running at the time as well. Loved me running, cross country and whatever. Went school wise, representing county in the cross country. Football, rugby, cricket at school. Played cricket for the town. The bowls, as they came along quite early, sort of 14, 15. So trying to mix everything, and then when bowls sort of started to take over, so it led me down that path, really.
Yeah, righto. Favorite food, Rob?
Well, traditional. I do love my fish and chips and mushy peas, I've got to say. Yeah, love that. But
love
yeah, otherwise Thai, like Thai food. Yeah, flavors. So yeah,
nice. Favorite drink?
I like a craft ale. Yeah, like a West Coast IPA, something like that. I still drink, but yeah, summer you got to have a cider in the summer. Herefordshire cider in the summer. We're cider country.
Very good. Favorite holiday location?
Not really got a favourite location as such. In that, again, going back to bowls being like a selfish quite sport, whatever. Over the years, you're missing family holidays. You're not really getting time for holidays and breaks or whatever. But I do love be active, really. City breaks. I like me city breaks. Going, over to Europe or whatever. Get a 4-nighter in and exploring, doing stuff like that.
Nice.
My partner Ange loves Cornwall, so get an opportunity, drop down to Cornwall, Cornwall, get a cottage and enjoy the beaches down there with the dog.
Yeah, nice. If you weren't playing bowls, what do you think you'd be doing?
It'd be definitely trying to be doing something sport orientated. If bowls didn't come along, following those other sports we've mentioned. And even darts maybe, because I was pretty fair at darts, like back, giving like 12 up to 20, 21, whatever. It's always a dart ball in the house, always playing, and it was pretty good, to be honest. So, and look where darts has gone. Bit of money in that now.
It's incredible. £1 million just won there by Luke Littler.
Yeah, it's for incredible amount of prize money, isn't it? And just think, maybe back, it is all early 90s, whatever, bowls was similar for into darts and snooker, like, wasn't it?
Yep. Embassy sponsored it at one point. I had a bit of research there the other week. So they did.
You're spot on. Embassy sponsorship, yeah.
Yeah, and me and Simon spoke on the podcast before you came on for your part one there, and we said about, like Ali Pally for darts. What I didn't realise was bowls was played at the Ali Pally before darts was. It was played there 1 year.
Absolutely, you're quite correct.
So it was, I think Alcock was in the final. He was beat by a Scottish qualifier, and that name's just escaped me. But yeah, did find that out in the research, which I thought very interesting. And now we talked about earlier in this one about the portable rink not being very portable. That's the type of locations it should be at. So
exactly, certainly is. You're quite right. Bowls did have the experience of playing.
We were nearly ahead of our time. We were nearly ahead of our time. We're talking about being behind now. We were nearly ahead of our time.
We were at that time. Definitely, and it's sort of slipped away, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's not dead in the water yet, so who knows? You never know. Right, where are we? If you could change one rule in the game of bowls, what would it be?
I would be in favour of substitutions during games. Yep. Obviously not singles, because that'd be a bit extreme, wouldn't it?
That's an interesting one.
It would be, but no. In team and combination games, I would be in favour of substitutions and formation changes during games. Other things, people like double shots or your joker. I'm not sure on that, but
novelty,
substitutions for me would be, I'd be in favour of that. Yeah.
Well, keep an eye out on Bowls New South Wales' YouTube channel this year, because they've brought that in for their platinum pennant starting in a couple of weeks. You're allowed to make, I think after 9 ends, maybe, I think you're allowed to make one positional change within the rink or even make one substitute in the rink. So keep an eye out for that. Maybe they have brought that in this year, the match committee. Okay. Advice for all the bowlers out there that are aspiring to be the next Robert Weale.
This might sound simple, but my advice is just play. Just go out and play the game. Even if you start and you're a learning novice, if there's competitions, just join in, get in, enter. Soak up the experience. You'll learn in all the time on that. If you get beat, just learn from your opponent, what happened, soak up that experience, just get and play. More importantly, probably for me, is respect the game, because there's nobody bigger than the game. So just respect the game as it is and your opponents. Doing that correctly, and you will gain the respect then.
So don't rip your shirt off, is that what you're saying?
No, you keep harking back to that.
Yeah,
we're all
poking
good,
poking the bear.
Yeah.
Well, did you hear Barry's podcast? Barry Lester claims that because he did it when he beat Kelvin in a pairs event.
Oh, was it? Right.
And he dared Kelvin if he won the singles that he had to do it, and that's where it came from. According to Barry, that's where it came from. You have to go back and listen to that one. So it's Barry Lester's fault. It's not Kelvin's fault.
So I blame Barry. Next time we catch up with Barry, I know who to blame then, yeah.
Yeah, blame Barry for that one. All right, mate, the last question of the whole episode and the most important one of them all. Rate the What a Load of Bulls podcast out of 10.
Out of 10. Out of 10. So, listen, I hate to give absolute perfection like 10s or whatever, so I'm going to give you guys like a good, really strong 9.5 then.
I'll take that, mate, from you. With that career you've had, mate, I'll cop that. And I'm used to getting marked down because I usually have to do it with Simon, so we can cop that on the chin. And he's not here to defend himself at the minute, so dear love him.
Good stuff.
But Robert, mate, obviously we had a bit of technical issues with the last time. We finished it off now. I really, really appreciate your time on this, mate, and being able to set this up with you. It was great to get to know you at Kuala Lumpur as well, with that taxi ride to start with.
No, thank you. No, good to meet you, mate. It's good to catch up.
No, it was great to line this up, mate, and hear a bit more, like obviously anyone can go and look up your career and what you've done, but to actually sit here and spend a couple of hours with you over a couple of days and actually talk about your career and what you've done and get that mindset, mate, it really does, I think, benefit those that want to listen to the podcast. It helps our podcast. I mean, me and Simon just do this for a bit of fun amongst ourselves. So to get a legend like you to sit down and talk to us across the world, mate, I really, really appreciate it. Simon's put a little gift package in the post for you. Hopefully arrive in the next week or two.
Okay.
But Robert,
cheers,
mate,
mate.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. Great insights. If you're ever in Australia or we're back over there, we will hit you up and see if we can meet up or whatever, mate. But it's been an absolute pleasure. You're a gentleman, and thank you again.
No, thank you. Thanks for the kind words. And certainly if we are over that way again, or likewise you're over this way, we'll try and catch up and look at sorting something out.
No, I appreciate that, mate. Thank you. Well, Simon, thanks for not cutting us off this week like you did last week. But that was Robert Weale. You unfortunately didn't get to join us for sort of the majority of the second half of that interview, mate. So what did you find, especially picking up where you left off with Potters after you had a bit of a rant a couple of episodes ago? What was your thoughts on Robert's thoughts about Potters? Just quickly.
Oh, look, I didn't expect that kind of response from him, from somebody that was heavily involved in Potter's event over the years, and he was definitely at the forefront of it and front and center on TV as we were kids growing up watching playing bowls. And I was actually refreshing that somebody that's been heavily involved in it actually sort of saying that there needs to be changes and something needs to be changed. Like, so that is refreshing to hear, because I thought we might have heard just the usual kind of sit in the fence sort of attitude from maybe an elite player like that, but nice for him to actually be open and candid about it. And yeah, I thought that interview was really good. DJ asked some really good questions, and just to hear about him as a person and how he goes about his bowls and daily life and everything, you don't get to know that when you're watching those players on TV or on YouTube and the behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, it was great to hear that content from him.
Would you say he's your favourite Welshman now?
Oh, I don't know. That's hard to say. There's a good few out there, so we'll leave that one to the side.
Anyway, on Potters, mate, and we're very aware of time because it was a long episode, but how could you cut that short like Robert Weale? What a legend. But we are on Potters, and we do have the results. We'll just run through them quickly. The mixed pairs went to Jamie Walker and Chloe Wilson. Shout out to Chloe, obviously, from the homeland. Jamie Walker will be out here in a couple of weeks for BPL. The open pairs went to a little-known pair of Alex Marshall and Paul Foster, both MBEs. Yeah, that's their sixth title together too, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
The Masters singles, second year it's been run, went to Russell Bewick of England. The men's singles, what a cracker that was. Bowl for bowl. Paul Foster against Robert Paxton, but it was Robert Paxton came out on top, and this time in a tiebreak, taking out his second title. But in the women's singles, Catherine Redknall, 7 titles. She won with her 7th title. That's incredible. That's a record that she, to be honest with you, mate, she's going to add to it. It's not going to stop there. So for it to be beaten, I'd love to see who's coming through to beat it. But she just, the best part of it is, mate, right? 6-time previous champion. She had to qualify to get into that. She's actually won that as a qualifier. That's just insane. So well done to Catherine. That's pretty impressive. But I think that'll nearly do us for this week, mate. Next time coming up, we're going to look at the Aussies are currently over in Malaysia as we speak, playing in a test series. Well done, Jack McShane. Jackaroo number 154 just got his first cap.
See that? Very good.
The New Zealand are heading over not long after. Shout out to Ali. He's got picked for that. So they're taking a couple of sides over there. And obviously they'll look to pick the Commonwealth Games team after that. Shout out to Namibia Bulls. We might look at that as well, mate. Just the conditions of things over there, the conditions of the green and what's happening over there. The Inter-Region Championships are currently being played in New South Wales. So we're well and truly getting into the season. The England Commonwealth Games teams have already been announced. We might look at that quickly. And with any luck in a couple of weeks, we'll see a few more teams announced for the Commonwealth Games later in Glasgow. And of course, mate, and Bulls New South Wales Platinum Pennant's coming up as well. So we'll dive into that, have a look at the 3rd season of that, see how the teams are looking. The squads are currently getting announced at the minute. Haven't seen your name anywhere, mate, but that's maybe a good thing because they've started sort of at the bottom and working up. So maybe I'll see you in one of the title contenders, will I?
Who knows? Just keep watching.
I know, you're retired. Or on sabbatical, that's probably the best way to put it. I mean, on sabbatical. But yeah, a few other things going on behind the scenes in your life, mate, that probably we'll talk about in a couple of episodes' time. Reason for not playing Bulls this year. But that's, mate, I think that'll do us for this week. Robert Weale speaks for himself. Hope you all enjoyed the episode, folks. 2-parter. We came consecutive weeks just to get that over the line. So
just one thing before we go, DJ, just a shout out to old James Gaston. I can't believe you're getting away with a foot fault every time. And on that note, DJ,
keep that little disc on the inside.
And good luck on those greens. The views, information, or opinions expressed during What a Load of Bulls podcast episodes are solely those of the individuals involved and do not represent those of any group, organisation, or employer associated or affiliated to individuals. This podcast is for general information purposes only, to educate and inform. This podcast does not constitute professional advice or services. What a Load of Bulls does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of any opinions expressed or statements made within episodes.